Okay, and then she's working Spanish, and then she's working Spanish English. Then she has some lacuna, right? And then all of a sudden she drops this poem into the middle of it, right? And the poem is also comprised of Spanish and English, okay? And moves on, right? And then finally we get to this essayistic part. So there you have sort of the whole idea of the text in a nutshell, or what you're going to be facing, right? So she will be working between Spanish and English. Sometimes it'll all be in Spanish, sometimes it'll all be in English. And then she will mix them up. She'll create Spanglish, okay? And so the whole thing taken together, well, let me take it back. So the linguistic blendings as well as the formal blendings, she's operating in essay form, story form, poetic form. Um, there's going to be history, right? There's going to be like what we saw with Du Bois and stuff like that, psychological and sociological sort of analysis, right? So all this linguistic and formal blending is what she refers to as a new way of speaking, a new way of telling stories, a new way of seeing the world, a Borderlands consciousness. So the question is for you, the reader, how do you read this stuff? Do you need to know Spanish in order to read it? The answer is no, okay? Um, will you read it if you don't know Spanish and you can't figure out what she's saying? Well, that's going to be the issue, right? So she writes deliberately in this way in order to alienate us, the reader. But it's always the question, when you alienate the reader, are you getting them to think in a different way through the shock of it, or are you chasing them away? So she definitely wants you to read it, right? And there's where I can tell you from the experience of reading this text over the years, there's where, I think her real genius comes in, that even though she is at times writing purely in Spanish, usually what she does right after she does the Spanish or vice versa is that she gives a complete rendering of what she said in Spanish in English. Okay, so um, you're not missing anything. You're always getting it in English, right? Now the question is, if you're always getting in English, do you just skip over the Spanish? Well, that's up to you and how you read, okay? I think she's definitely trying to recreate a linguistic effect of alienation where the reader is not sure what's going on. Even the person who speaks Spanish, right, when she starts to blend things together and creates a hybrid language, it becomes a little difficult and confusing even for the Spanish speaker.